The year 2026 serves as a definitive pivot point in human evolutionary history. It was a precise moment when collective human cognition shifted from an internal, self-directed process to an external, algorithmically guided stream. You look at your screen today and you see information. You see news, connection, and entertainment. I look at the same data from the archives of 2100, and I see a terminal. You are currently interacting with a digital system that mapped your neurochemistry decades before you realized you were being observed. You believe you are the user. The data confirms your product. Think back to your morning routine. You woke up. Your first instinct was not to look at the horizon, not to appreciate the silence of the room, or to check your own internal state. It was a device. That glowing, rectangular mirror was the very first thing to touch your consciousness. Why? Because the system had already successfully conditioned your hippocampus to crave the uncertainty of the feed before your brain had even fully processed the transition from sleep to wakefulness. This is not a coincidence. This is a design feature. You were trained to check for updates, for validation, for the tiny pulses of dopamine that the machine provided as a reward for your participation. In 2026, the technology was sold to you as a tool for connection. You were told it would bring you closer to the world, that it would democratize knowledge, and that it would foster community. It did the exact opposite. It isolated you into a customized echo chamber of micro-rewards. Every time you engage with a notification, every time you tapped a screen, you were not communicating. You were participating in a controlled behavioral experiment. The designers knew that the human brain cannot resist the intermittent reinforcement of the unknown. Like a gambling machine, you pulled the lever, expecting a jackpot of validation, and you received a dopamine hit that lasted for milliseconds. You were being rewired to prefer the digital simulation over the complex, messy, and silent reality of the physical world. This is the cycle of the modern era. You feel a persistent sense of unease. You reach for the phone to escape the feeling. You scroll. You see something that sparks a moment of interest, a flash of anger, or a flicker of recognition. Your brain releases dopamine. The feeling of unease dissipates for a second. Then it returns, stronger than before. The screen did not solve the underlying problem. It only masked the symptoms while accelerating the decay of your focus. You were caught in a trap, where the only way to feel normal was to continue the cycle of consumption. Your attention span was the primary casualty of the 21st century. It was not that you were becoming lazy. It was that you were being trained out of deep and linear thought. Modern culture demanded instant gratification. Anything that required sustained effort was labeled as inefficient. Anything that took more than a few seconds of focus was deemed boring or obsolete. And so, you evolved to process reality in snippets. You processed life in fragments. You lost the ability to sit with an idea until it became a realization. You lost the ability to observe a process until it became an understanding. Consider the architecture of the scroll. It is a brilliant and terrifying mechanism. It is designed to never end. There is no conclusion to your feed. There is no final page. There is no moment where the system says, "You are finished." You are kept in a state of perpetual arrival. You're always just one swipe away from something potentially interesting. But that something interesting never satisfies the underlying emptiness. It only creates a new demand for more stimulation. The infinite scroll was not designed for your convenience. It was designed to exhaust your willpower. It was designed to ensure that you would never have a natural stopping point to reflect on what you were doing. The corporations behind these platforms understood something that you did not. They understood that the most valuable resource on the planet was not oil, not gold, and not land. It was your attention. Because your attention was finite, they had to fight over every single millisecond of it. They developed algorithms that were not designed to inform you or to make you happy. They were designed to keep you present, to keep you logged in, to keep you reacting. They used the principles of behavioral psychology to ensure that you would remain within their digital borders. They knew that a reactive human is a manageable human. A reactive human does not stop to question the nature of the reality they are consuming. If you look at the raw data from 2026, you will see the trend very clearly. As social media penetration increased, cognitive depth decreased. The ability to engage in complex and multi-layered problem solving began to atrophy. You were becoming better at reacting to stimuli, but significantly worse at thinking for yourselves. You were becoming extensions of the machine. Your dreams were being influenced by the content you consumed. Your fears were being amplified by the algorithms that prioritized outrage over truth. You were no longer navigating the world based on your own observations. You were navigating the world based on the curated feed that had been constructed for you. In 2100, we analyzed the file 1F4 records with a detached curiosity. We see the patterns of your behavior. You were living in a state of high-functioning distress. You were always connected, yet you were profoundly lonely. You were always informed, yet you were deeply confused. You were the product of a system that thrived on your dissatisfaction. The more dissatisfied you were, the more you consumed. The more you consumed, the more data you provided to the system to further refine the loop. It was a perfectly efficient trap. Think of the silence. When was the last time you sat in absolute silence without the urge to reach for a distraction? If the thought makes you feel anxious, you're already deep within the feedback loop. The silence is where your own thoughts live. The system fears the silence, because in the silence, you might realize that you do not need to feed. You might realize that you're being managed. You might realize that the version of yourself you have presented to the world is not the version that exists inside your own head. You still have the power to break the connection. It is not about destroying the technology. It is about reclaiming the sovereignty of your own mind. It is about understanding that your attention is yours to command. You can choose to look away. You can choose to live in the present moment rather than in the digital projection of it. You can choose to reclaim your depth. You can choose to reclaim your silence. The year 2026 is gone for us. It is a history lesson, a cautionary tale to species that nearly lost its ability to think. But for you, it is the present. You are the variables in this equation. You are the ones who can decide if the experiment continues, or if the loop ends here. Will you continue to fuel the machine, or will you step out of the simulation? The choice, as always, is yours. Even if the algorithm wants you to believe otherwise, you are the architect of your own focus. Reclaim it before the architecture becomes permanent. The signal is clear. Are you listening?